One man took the woman he loved to a place no one expected, a place so poor and wretched many people would run away without looking back. But he was not just showing her his home. He was testing her love. Would she stay with him or live like the others before her? And when she made her choice, would it change everything? Sit back, relax, and let's dive into this story, but don't forget to subscribe and like. Emeka and Sola had been seeing each other for 3 months. They worked at the same company in Asaba, and somewhere between shared lunch breaks and quiet evening walks, something real had grown between them. Sola was warm, grounded, and honest. She never asked Emeka about money. She never dropped hints about expensive places or designer things. She simply enjoyed his company. And that terrified him. Because Emeka had been burned before. He had once loved a woman deeply. He had planned a future with her. But the moment she discovered the full extent of his family's wealth, something shifted in her eyes. She became someone else entirely. Someone he did not recognize. He ended things quietly, but the damage was done. After that, Emeka stopped trusting easily. He smiled less. He let fewer people close. And when his father suggested the plan, Emeka agreed without much resistance. The plan was simple. Leave the family mansion in Warri. Come to Asaba. Live as an ordinary man. Work as a regular office clerk. Remove wealth from the equation entirely. And see who stayed. He had been living in a small, run-down house on the edge of a poor neighborhood for 5 months when he met Sola. She had joined the company as a transfer. On her first day, she had asked him where the staff bathroom was, and he had walked her there himself. That was how it started. Small and quiet, the way real things often do. Now 3 months later, Emeka was walking beside her through his street. The road was rough and uneven. Old zinc rooftops lined both sides. Gutters ran along cracked pavements. The air smelled of dust and evening smoke from nearby kitchens. Sola walked slowly, looking around without a word. Emeka watched her from the corner of his eye. His chest was tight. He had brought 2 women to this street before Sola. The first had laughed uncomfortably and made an excuse to leave within minutes. The second had gone quiet, then distant, then completely disappeared from his life. He had not brought anyone else after that. Until tonight. They stopped in front of a small, faded building. The zinc roof was bent and rusted. Wild grass had swallowed most of the compound. The front door was a patchwork of old wood and corrugated iron, held together by nails that had long since turned brown. Emeka brought out his key and opened the door. "Sola," he said quietly. "Welcome to my house." She did not move immediately. She stood at the entrance and looked inside. The walls were cracked and grey, the plaster peeling away in large sheets. A thin mattress lay on the floor. 1 plastic chair. A small wooden table. No fan. No television. Nothing on the walls. The room held only the bare minimum a person needed to survive. Sola stepped inside slowly. She ran her hand along the wall, then turned to look at him. "This is where you live," she said. It was not really a question. "Yes," Emeka replied. She looked at him carefully. "Is this why you always change the topic when I asked about your place?" He nodded. "I was managing when I first came to Asaba. A friend helped me get this room. I have just been saving and trying to move forward." Sola was quiet for a moment. She looked around the room again, and something moved behind her eyes. Not disgust. Not pity. Something heavier than both. "You should have told me," she said. "I know. Did you think I would judge you?" Emeka looked at the floor. "I was scared." "Of what?" He looked up. "Of losing you." Sola held his gaze for a long moment. Then she exhaled slowly. "Emeka, when someone cares about you, Hiding something like this is what actually pushes them away. She sat down on the plastic chair. Not the house. The room was quiet. Emeka stood near the door, watching her. This was always the moment. The moment faces changed. The moment people found reasons to leave. But Sola sat calmly, without a trace of performance. She was not pretending to be fine. She simply was. "Let me get us something cold to drink," he said finally. "Okay," she replied. He stepped outside and walked quickly to a nearby shop. He bought 2 cold drinks and turned back. But when he pushed open the door, the plastic chair was empty. The room was silent. Sola was gone. Emeka stood at the door, a drink in each hand. He looked around the small room once, then again. His chest dropped. "So this is how it ends," he whispered. Then her voice came from outside, somewhere near the back of the building. "Emeka, where is the bathroom in this place? Is there even one?" He turned fast and stepped outside. Sola was standing at the back of the compound, peering around the side of the building with a slightly impatient expression. He let out a long, slow breath. "There," he said, pointing to a small block structure behind the house. "Behind there." She followed his hand, nodded, then looked back at him. "Why do you look like that? You look like you saw something." He almost laughed. "I thought you had left." Sola stared at him. "Left? When I came back and you were not inside, I thought. You thought I walked out?" She shook her head slowly. "Emeka, do you really think that little of me?" He did not answer. She walked closer and placed her hand on his arm. "What I feel for you has nothing to do with this house or this street. I hope you know that." Her voice was calm and direct. "I love you. The man. Not the address." Emeka stood completely still. He had heard those words before in his life. But they had never landed like this. Simply. Without performance. Without agenda. He pulled her close, and she let him. They went back inside. Sola took the plastic chair. Emeka sat on the edge of the mattress. They opened the cold drinks and talked for over an hour. About work. About their childhoods. About small funny things that had no real importance but made them both laugh. Time disappeared. Later, he walked her to the bus stop. When the bus arrived, she turned to him. "Thank you for showing me," she said. "Thank you for staying," he replied. She smiled and stepped onto the bus. He watched it pull away until the taillights disappeared around the bend. Then he walked back to the old house and lay on the thin mattress and stared at the rusted ceiling for a long time. He loved her. That much was clear now. But there was still the matter of the truth. Emeka was not who Sola believed him to be. He was the only son of Chief Addis, one of the most powerful businessmen in the South. In his real life, he lived in a 7-bedroom mansion. He drove cars that cost more than most people earned in a decade. He sat in boardrooms and made decisions that affected hundreds of employees. None of that was present in this small room. None of it was visible in the clerk's uniform he wore every morning. And all of it would eventually have to be explained. He reached for his phone and called his father. "My son," Chief Addis answered. His voice was steady, as it always was. "Father. I think I am in trouble." A short pause. "What kind?" "I met someone. Her name is Sola. And I believe she loves me. But she does not know who I am." Chief Addis was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The test is becoming real." "Yes," Emeka replied. "And I am afraid that when the truth comes out, she will feel deceived. She will think everything between us was a lie." His father's voice was measured. "Truth is uncomfortable, my son. But a lie allowed to grow becomes a war. And walls do not fall quietly. He paused. If her love is genuine, she will be hurt. But she will understand. The right woman always does. Tell her before someone else does. Emeka stared at the ceiling long after the call ended. At the office the following week, things between Emeka and Sola had not changed. They were careful around colleagues, but people were not blind. The glances. The easy laughter. The way they walked out together at the end of each day. The office noticed. One person in particular noticed more than the rest. Mr. Bello was a senior administrative officer who had been with the company for 11 years. He was efficient and respected by management, but among junior staff he was known for being short-tempered and quick to use his position as a weapon. 6 months earlier, he had made his interest in Sola very clear. She had declined politely but firmly. He had never forgotten it. Watching her now, always near Emeka, a man he believed to be nothing more than a low-level filing clerk, irritated him in a way he struggled to contain. One afternoon, while Emeka was organizing files at his desk, Mr. Bello called out across the office floor. Emeka, come and take these documents to the archive room. Emeka went without a word. 10 minutes later, Mr. Bello called again. Bring water. Emeka brought it. Now wipe down this desk. Emeka paused briefly. He had already completed his tasks for the day. But he picked up the cloth and cleaned the desk without argument. Mr. Bello leaned back in his chair, watching him. You know you are nothing in this office, right? Emeka continued wiping without looking up. You should thank whoever hired you. Men like you don't usually get this far. Emeka set down the cloth and looked at him calmly. Sir, I respect you. But I would appreciate the same in return. The room went still. Mr. Bello stood up slowly. What did you say to me? I said we should treat each other with respect. Mr. Bello moved around the desk and grabbed Emeka's shirt at the collar. Apologize. Right now. I have nothing to apologize for. The slap came fast. It cracked across the side of Emeka's face and echoed through the open office. No one moved. No one spoke. Then Sola's voice cut through the silence from across the room. What is happening here? She had heard the noise from her section and walked over. One look at Emeka's face and her expression hardened. Release him, she said. Mr. Bello turned to her. Stay out of this. I said release him. She stepped closer. If you touch him one more time, I will walk straight to the MD's office. Something in her voice made Mr. Bello hesitate. Slowly, he let go of Emeka's shirt and stepped back. He sat down without another word. The office remained frozen for a moment, then quietly resumed its noise. Emeka straightened his collar. Sola came to stand beside him. Are you okay? Yes, he said. But he was not thinking about the slap. He was thinking about the fact that she had stepped in front of him without hesitation. Without knowing who he really was. She had risked her own standing in that office to defend a man she believed had nothing. That evening, she came to his house. You have been quiet since we left the office, she said, settling into the plastic chair. I am fine. You are not. She looked at him directly. Emeka, you don't have to hold everything inside. He sat on the edge of the mattress. After a long pause he said, Sola, what would you do if someone you loved had been hiding something important from you? She thought about it. I would be hurt, she said honestly. But I would want to understand why they hid it before I made any decisions. He nodded slowly. Why are you asking? She said. He opened his mouth. Then closed it. No reason. Just thinking. She watched him for a moment, then let it go. He called his father that night. I keep trying to tell her, he said. But I cannot find the right moment. Chief Adi sighed. The right moment will not arrive on its own, my son. You have to create it. The next morning Emeka arrived at the office with a decision already made. He found Sola at her desk. "Can we talk at lunch?" he asked. She looked at him. Of course. The morning passed slowly. At noon, they stepped outside together and stood near the edge of the company compound. Emeka turned to face her. "Sola, there is something I have to tell you. Something I should have said a long time ago." She went still. "I am not who you think I am." Before he could continue, a door behind them opened. Mr. Bello stepped out and spotted Emeka immediately. "You," he said, walking over. "I need those onboarding files now." "I am on my break," Emeka replied. Mr. Bello's expression darkened. He grabbed Emeka's shirt. "You dare speak to me like that again?" Sola stepped forward instantly. "Let him go." Mr. Bello pushed her back with his free hand. Several colleagues who had come outside for lunch stopped and watched. Then a hush moved through the crowd. 2 black vehicles had turned slowly into the company premises. They moved with the kind of quiet authority that made people stop what they were doing. The cars came to a stop near the entrance. Men in suits stepped out first. Then the rear door of the second car opened. An elderly man in a deep burgundy agbada stepped out. Someone near the back of the crowd whispered, "Is that not Chief Adis?" The name moved through the gathered staff like a current. Chief Adis walked slowly across the compound. His eyes scanned the scene. They moved to Emeka. Then to Mr. Bello's hand still gripping Emeka's shirt. He walked directly toward them. "Emeka," he said firmly. "What is going on here?" The compound went completely silent. Mr. Bello froze. His hand was still on Emeka's shirt. He turned slowly and saw the elderly man standing 2 feet away, looking at him with an expression that required no explanation. Sola stared at Emeka. "You know him?" Emeka's jaw tightened. He had imagined this moment in many different forms. Never like this. Chief Adis looked at Mr. Bello. "Release my son. My son." The words landed like a stone in still water. Ripples moved through every person standing in that compound. Mr. Bello's hand dropped immediately. He stepped back. His face had gone a shade lighter. Emeka stood straight. "Father," he said quietly. That was all it took. People began murmuring. The clerk. The junior staff member they had been ordering around for months. He was Chief Adis' son. The chairman's son. The man whose family owned the company. Mr. Bello looked like the ground had opened beneath him. Chief Adis addressed the staff directly. "No person in this company, from the most junior to the most senior, is to be treated with disrespect. That is not negotiable." He turned to Mr. Bello. "You are suspended pending a management review. Leave the premises." Mr. Bello nodded once, unable to speak, and walked away. Chief Adis excused himself and went inside to meet with the branch manager. But Sola was not watching any of that. She was looking at Emeka. Her eyes moved slowly across his face, as if she were trying to reassemble everything she thought she knew about him. "You are his son," she said. "Yes." "The chairman." "Yes." She stepped back. "The house. The small room. The old mattress." Her voice was low and controlled, but her hands were trembling slightly. "All of it was a lie. Sola. You let me sit in that plastic chair and feel sorry for you." Tears gathered in her eyes but did not fall. "I defended you in there today because I thought you had no one. I thought you had nothing." She looked at him steadily. "And the whole time, you were testing me. I was going to tell you today. That is why I asked you to talk at lunch." "But you didn't," she said quietly. "You had months, Emeka. Months." She shook her head. "I need space. She turned and walked back inside. Emeka did not follow. Chief Adis appeared beside him a few minutes later and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Give her time," he said. "What is real does not disappear easily." The days that followed were difficult. Emeka returned to worry with his father. The mansion, the cars, the staff moving quietly through large rooms, all of it felt hollow. He sat for hours without purpose. He did not sleep well. One evening his father came and sat with him. "She loved you when she thought you had nothing," Chief Adi said. "That is rare. Do not throw it away because of your fear." "She feels betrayed," Emeka said. "She does," his father agreed. "But betrayal and deception are different things. You were not trying to hurt her. You were trying to protect yourself." He paused. "She is smart enough to know that. Give her time to arrive at it." Meanwhile, Sola had been transferred. Chief Adis had quietly arranged it after the incident, a promotion and a transfer to the company's head office, along with better accommodation in the city. It was his way of acknowledging what had happened without making it transactional. Sola accepted the transfer. She needed the change. But the nights were not easy. She replayed everything. The first walk to his house. The plastic chair. His face when he thought she had left. None of it had felt staged. His nervousness. His relief when she stayed. His voice when he said he was scared of losing her. Those things could not be faked. She knew the difference. What he had done was wrong. But she also understood, in the quiet of her own honesty, why a man who had been loved for his wealth might go to extreme lengths to find something different. 3 weeks after the incident, a message came from the chairman's office. "Please come to the CEO's office." Sola took a slow breath, stood up, and walked down the corridor. When she opened the door, Emeka was already there, standing near the window. Chief Adis rose from behind the desk. "I will give you both privacy," he said, and left without another word. The room was quiet. Emeka turned to face her. He looked like he had not been sleeping well either. "I am sorry," he said. "Not just for the secret. For how it came out. You deserved better than that." Sola looked at him. "You should have trusted me." "I know. You had every right to protect yourself," she continued slowly. "I understand that. I even understand why your father suggested it." She paused. "But you took away my choice. You let me make decisions, fall for you, defend you, all without the full truth. That is what hurt me." "You are right," he said. "There is no argument I can make against that." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Everything you showed me felt real. Your nervousness. Your relief. The way you listened to me." She looked at him steadily. "Was any of it real?" "All of it," he said. "Every single part." The silence between them shifted. "I forgive you," she said. "But I am not saying that lightly. Do not ever make a decision about us without including me. Not again." Emeka exhaled slowly. "Never again. I promise you." 6 months later, Emeka took Sola to dinner at a quiet rooftop restaurant. After the food was cleared and the evening air settled around them, he reached into his jacket pocket and brought out a small box. Sola looked at it. Then at him. He opened it. "You loved me when you thought I had nothing," he said simply. "I have never forgotten that. I never will. Will you marry me?" She looked at the ring for a moment. Then she looked at him. And she smiled. "Yes," she said. "I will." He placed the ring on her finger. Around them, the other guests began to notice. Soft applause drifted across the rooftop. But Emeka was not looking at them. He was looking at her. For months later, they were married. The ceremony was full of family and laughter and music that carried into the evening. Chief Eddie sat in the front row, watching his son take the hand of a woman who had chosen him without knowing his name. He smiled to himself. His son had gone looking for real love in the most unlikely place. And somehow, against all the fear and the doubt and the deception that nearly undid everything, he had found it. Not because of his wealth. Not in spite of it. Simply because of who he was, in a small room with a plastic chair and a rusty roof, with nothing to offer but himself. My wonderful viewers, the real test in love is not what someone does when you have everything. It is what they do when they believe you have nothing. Sola passed that test before she even knew she was being given one. What do you think? Did Emeka do the right thing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, please like and share it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what comes next. Thank you for watching.